Have you ever looked at a standard 12-volt battery bank and just thought, why in the world does the inverter need these massive, incredibly thick battery cables? I mean, it's kind of wild, right? You've got this relatively small battery, but the cables coming off it look like they belong on some heavy-duty industrial machinery. Why does a standard, seemingly harmless system end up pulling literally hundreds of amps? Well, today, we're going to figure exactly that out. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are mastering inverter current calculations and system safety. I am so pumped you're here because we're going to demystify DC current calculation once and for all. By the time we wrap up, you'll have the exact math and, more importantly, the conceptual understanding to figure out inverter current draw yourself. That means you can build incredibly safe, completely fire-free systems. Okay, let's run through our roadmap really quickly. First, we'll cover the golden rule of power. Then, voltage versus current. Third is something I call the efficiency trap. And finally, we'll talk about keeping your system safe. Let's dive right in. Section 1, the golden rule of power. All right, so here is the foundational electrical math that, honestly, you just have to know. Current equals watts divided by volts. Look, every inverter basically does one job, right? It takes DC power from your battery and magically turns it into AC power for your appliances. But while everybody gets obsessed with the AC side of things, the battery side is where the massive heavy lifting currents actually live. Power is measured in watts, and power is just voltage times current. So if we rearrange that, we get our golden rule. If you know your power in watts and you know your battery voltage, you can always find your current. Moving on to Section 2, voltage versus current. Let's see how this plays out in the real world across some common battery voltages. Imagine a 1,000-watt inverter on a 12-volt battery. 1,000 divided by 12 gives us about 83.3 amps. Now let's double that inverter power to 2,000 watts, but we'll also step up our battery to 24 volts. 2,000 divided by 24 is exactly 83.3 amps. Even though we are pulling twice as much power, doubling the system voltage kept the current exactly the same. Pretty cool, right? Now let's jump up to a massive 3,000-watt inverter, but this time on a 48-volt battery. 3,000 divided by 48 is just 62.5 amps. We're pushing way more power, but we are actually pulling less current. So what does this actually mean physically? Well, lower voltage systems inevitably demand high current to get the same amount of work done. And high current, that means more heat in your wires, terrible voltage drop, and it forces you to buy those massive, crazy expensive cables. Higher voltage systems, on the other hand, let you transfer that exact same power but with way lower current. Less heat, smaller losses, way easier cable management, and just better overall efficiency. And honestly, that is exactly why the big professional setups almost exclusively use 48-volt battery banks. Section 3, the efficiency trap. Okay, here is the twist. I'm going to tell you why that basic math we just learned is actually, well, dangerously incomplete. Real inverters aren't magic. They are not 100% efficient. Converting DC to AC takes real energy. A really good, high-quality inverter might give you 90% usable AC power, but it's losing about 10% of that energy as raw heat during the conversion. So if you plug in a 2,000-watt appliance, your inverter doesn't just pull 2,000 watts from the battery. Nope. To give you those 2,000 watts at 90% efficiency, it actually has to pull roughly 2,222 watts from your battery bank. Let's look at the actual numbers here. 83.3 amps. That is the theoretical number. It's the exact current people think they're dealing with when they just divide a 2,000-watt load by a 24-volt battery. They get 83.3, they pat themselves on the back, and they go buy wires and fuses rated for, say, 85 or 90 amps, thinking they're totally safe and good to go. But here is the dramatic reality check. 92.6 amps. Because your inverter is actually pulling 2,222 watts from the battery just to cover its own efficiency losses, you have to divide that bigger number by 24 volts. And boom, you're at 92.6 amps. That higher current is what is literally flowing through your system. Think about it. If you sized your wires for 83 amps, your system is now permanently pulling nearly 93 amps. This hidden gap, this efficiency trap, this is exactly why cables melt down, why fuses blow out of nowhere, and why systems completely fail. Section 4, keeping your systems safe. All right, let's take all this math and apply it to keeping your gear from literally bursting into flames. The absolute most critical thing to remember is that current equals heat. If your cables are undersized for your true amp draw, you get massive voltage drops and melting insulation. If your fuses are wrong, they won't blow before the wires overheat. If you ignore that efficiency loss we just talked about, your battery current is always going to run hotter than you planned for. And running continuous heavy loads, that just constantly stresses every single cable, lug, terminal, and battery in the chain. You cannot ignore these risk points. Because resistance produces heat, I literally cannot stress this enough. Let's say you did all the math perfectly. You bought the massive, perfectly sized cables to handle the true amp draw. Your system can still become a total fire hazard. Why? Your connections. Loose lugs, bad crimps, corrosion, all of that creates resistance, and resistance produces heat. A perfectly sized, massive copper cable will still melt down and catch fire if the terminal bolted to the battery is just a little bit loose. Doing the math is great, but getting out a wrench and torquing every single connection to manufacturer specs, that is absolutely crucial. Let's wrap this up into a super clear 4-step process for you to take away. Step 1, determine your AC load. Know exactly what your appliances are going to pull. Step 2, account for inverter efficiency. Bake in that 10% loss so you know the true wattage your inverter is demanding. Step 3, calculate the actual DC current. Divide that true wattage by your battery voltage. And step 4, size your cables and fuses for that true amp draw, not the theoretical, perfectly efficient one. If you follow this process, you are going to prevent overheating, save your equipment, and avoid some really dangerous mistakes. So, to finish up today's explainer, I've got a challenge for you to test what we just went over. Let's say you have a 2400-watt inverter hooked up to a 24-volt battery bank. What is the theoretical DC current draw? And more importantly, remembering the trap we just uncovered, how would an efficiency loss change that actual, real-world current? Do the math in your head. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me to figure this out today. Keep asking those questions, always calculate your true current, and for the love of everything, keep those connections tight. Catch you next time.